Good evening, fellow listeners. Welcome to the PRRRCAST, the place to go for all your information about cats. This week on the podcast, we'll find out if we should keep cats inside or outside. Joining us today is a special guest speaker. Listen to find out what the opinion is of today.
Hello everyone, welcome to the PRRRCAST. We have Yasha here today.
Hello, I'm Yasha van der Veen. I'm a veterinary doctor. In Tilburg, I'm a cat owner and I'm a professional working with cats and dogs.
Thanks for joining us today. We will be talking about if it's possible to protect biodiversity by keeping cats indoors. Every owner wonders, what does my cat do outside all day?
A lot of cats are allowed to roam freely and enter and leave their home as they wish, but according to experts at Tilburg University, this shouldn't be the case.
Recently, the experts at Tilburg University, they read all the legislation at the European Union and they analyzed the nature and biodiversity laws, and they concluded that all cats should be kept indoors in the EU member states. For those who don't know about it, the EU has many laws and suggestions on how people and organizations can contribute to certain aspects of the places we live in, and they made a birds directive just to protect the birds species of Europe. And it's been actually around since 1979, but not a lot of people know about it. And because the Tilburg University made a statement about it, it's more popular now, and there's starting to be more conversations about it. Did you hear about it?
No, I didn't hear about it. My whole life I've been living with cats around me, and we had multiple cats and different kinds of breeds in the house. And I also never saw a campaign that's saying that we should keep them inside. At my place, we just keep them also outside.
Yeah, I heard about it by the news. Someone talking about European guidelines for birds. To protect them, that they should have a safe environment to live in. So you should protect them. It's a contradiction to let your cats go outdoors freely and they can eat whatever they want. And it's a contradiction. I can understand that, but it's an interpretation of the rules that cats shouldn't be outside. It's the opposite thing. The birds should be protected, and that's the question how we can do that best.
But by allowing the cats to roam freely outside, you're accepting the risk that the birds are going to be killed on purpose.
Yes, and you also accept the risk that mice and rats will be killed on purpose.
Why is it a problem that birds are dying, but we also have mouses and rats, and it's totally fine with everyone if a cat kills them?
Yeah, exactly. Why is it sad when the birds die and not when the rats die? Just because the rats can maybe carry diseases, or because they're not so cute or pretty or maybe valuable in the economy, because birds, special species of birds, can be collected by the hunters.
Why do we as humans separate animals, see them as the same kind of animal in a way?
Yeah, why are certain animals less valuable than the other just because of how it looks or the purpose that it gives in the environment? The rats carry a lot of diseases, but also birds carry diseases too. And for example, if you ingest a bird's poop, you can get thousands and thousands of diseases, and you can also die from them. That's the same with rats, and maybe also from the history of rats, like the plague.
Yeah, we want to get rid of rats and mouses, but it's also, why do we think as people, and then it's a bird, then we are like, oh no, maybe we can save it. And when it's a rat or a mouse, we are like, ew, we are just going to throw it away, or we don't want it. And why do we see the difference? I can understand, because I also got multiple times a mouse, and mouse is more like, ugh, but a bird, it's kind of in the same way, but it looks prettier.
And there will be guidelines in about a year, I think, that it's no longer you're no longer able to use poison to get rid of rats and mice. And maybe they're not so cute as birds and not so nice looking, but they also spread diseases. And if there are no cats outside anymore allowed, how do you get your population of your mice and your rats to get a little bit lower than it's now? And how can you treat them? So the question is, how do you interpret the rules? And I think when you look at Holland, a lot of people, and I think in the past owners of farms, they are used for ages, but they have cats around the place, and they have to catch mice and all kinds of species to get it livable. And now we have some bird lovers, and I can understand them, and they say, okay, we have a problem with the birds, they're getting too little of them anymore, and how can we protect them? And I think the people are the main hazards for the birds, not the cats, because cats will always be there. Even if we keep our house cats indoors, we got, I think, 2.5 million cats in the Netherlands. And we live in just like a sub-rural area. And a lot of people that are living in flats are keeping their cats indoors. But if you're living not in a flat, but in a small town with more green, then the cats are living more outdoors. And I think it's not possible to take all cats out of this environment. In Australia, they try to do it by shooting them. And there's a lot of resistance from the people to say, yes, but if you shoot one, do you shoot a house cat or a wild cat? And is it solving the problem? So my opinion is cats should be able to go outdoors, and people should be taking better care of the environment to get a better environment for the birds. People should be more aware of their role into the environment of the birds.
There are many pollution in the environment, and all the organizations and the government can also take care of it. But maybe this discussion would be more about what can the person do on a small level.
Yeah, I think cat owners should be aware that if their cats are outside and running free, also going to the neighbor's garden, that they should know about diseases cats can spread. For example, toxoplasmosis. It's not only dangerous for the young cats, but it's also dangerous for people with, and if you treat your cat with something against the parasites, then you can prohibit the people to get sick and the animals to get sick. Because not only the animals or the people can get sick from the toxoplasmosis, but also my neighbor with a farm, if he lets his cows graze on the ground and your cat is pooping in their meadow, then the cow can get an abortion from that parasite. So it's not only dangerous for people, it's also dangerous for farm animals and other animals. So if we as government and as professionals try to informate people and to say, no, it's not only an information, you should be treating your cat against parasites at least 4 times a year, then I think we could also help a little bit. And maybe there are other things like giving them on a collar with a bell. So when there are birds there, they will hear the noise before the cat's there. So I think there are a lot of things we can do to help the environment. So cats, yes, they are a problem. I've got one cat in my house, and she loves to go outside. I had another cat. She died a half year ago, and she loved to stay indoors. She hated to go outdoors. So there are different types of cats. And the one who loves to go outdoors, if I keep that cat indoors, then he will
maybe go crazy or something.
He will be so friendly anymore, because he has to get rid of his energy. And he's doing it by chasing animals, most of the times rats and mice, and sometimes a bird. And it's also talking about keeping your cat indoors for the night, but that doesn't help the birds. And this problem is about people who love the birds and say the birds are going to get extinct. And they have a problem with cats hunting for birds. I didn't see any rule in the discussions about cats grabbing rats or mice.
Yeah.
And when you keep your cat indoors for over the night, all the birds are sleeping. So it doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I think you could do other things.
Yeah, so there should be a campaign or something for
Yeah.
humans to let them know
Yeah.
what they should do.
What they should do.
And not only for a campaign or whatever to let them know to keep them inside, but just know.
It's not a solution for
No.
all of the cats. I'm a veterinary doctor and I see in my practice cats that have aggression problems. Cats that are peeing indoors. Because they are kept indoors and then we got behavioral issues. They get health problems because they cannot get rid of their energy during the day. So it's not a solution for them, for most of them, to keep them indoors. Some of them love it indoors. They say it's fine, it's a safe habitat, but the other group wants to hunt. And you can distract them by playing with them, but for some it's not the solution.
And it's also in a different way because it's
Yeah.
not really hunting, but you see them when you play with them. Or you have a
Yeah.
mouse
Yeah.
toy or something, then they are kind of hunting it. But it's of course different because they
Yeah.
kind of always catch it because you are, as human, most of the time too slow
Yeah.
to pull it away or something.
Yeah, it's a good thing to give them something to do indoors. But what happens when the summer comes over? Can you just tell everyone in Holland to keep with a cat to keep their doors and windows closed all summer? I think it's not doable.
Because also be too hot or too warm.
Yeah, no, it's not doable to keep everything closed and to keep your cat indoors. Because when you open the door, they will wait for it and they
Yeah.
will jump out.
Or
So-
rushing.
Yes, is it possible? It's also a good question. Is it possible to keep them indoors?
Yeah.
If there is a law.
Or is there a way to simulate the outdoors, like by technology or something? What
Yeah.
elements do the cats need for the outdoors, or to feel like that they are outdoors
When
while
they're
being
indoors.
Yeah, that's a solution, but we have a housing problem nowadays, so with less room inside. So then you have to think about what you can do. And I think it's wise to think about how many cats someone should have.
But I think people need to think about the environment they give to the cats.
Yeah.
And also think about maybe the room they have. Maybe you should say only the people with maybe with a big house, let's say family house size, should have a cat.
I think that's wise. If you say we prohibit it for people to get more than 2 or 3 cats by law, then you can tell, okay, that's enough. So households with 20 or more cats are not possible anymore. So you can do something by law. But I think you can also do something on the outside of your house. If you have a garden nowadays, sometimes it's all about stones, all the way in the garden, not a tree to be found, no green. So the birds that come into your garden cannot hide away. And if you make your gardens more, a better environment for the birds, I think they have a better possibility to get away from the cats. Like big birds here that catch small birds out of my garden. And we cannot get a law that forbids the big birds to catch the small birds.
No, of
Yeah.
course.
It
but
also
that's the food-
happens.
Yeah, that is the food chain and the
That's the food
ecosystem
chain.
working,
And the
so-
cat is in the middle of the food chain.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the animals more than a dog that has an instinct in him or herself. And we cannot take the instinct of the cat away. So he always wants to hunt.
Yeah, they are deliberately killing them and hunting them, but maybe they don't even eat them.
No,
So-
I don't think they always eat them because most of the cats get a lot of food. Most of them are too fat. Some cats aren't able to chase birds anymore because they're not quick enough, because they get a lot of food from their owners. So that's at that point you're right. It's not about getting the food for the cat, it's just the chasing, it's the instinct. And normally a cat has to, in the wild, do like 20 to 25 chases to get their daily meal. So is there an owner in the house that plays with the cats like for 25 times a day?
I think nobody has time also, or nowadays nobody has time for that. So
Yeah, or the cat can also lose interest if it's with a toy that is pretending like to be a bird or a mouse. Then they lose interest faster.
Yes, I think that's true. I do think it's time that we think about how we treat and how we keep our indoor animals. There should be more laws for them, not only for the cats, but also for other indoor animals or pets. And I think that is part of the solution. To say, okay, how many cats can one household have? And what do we want a cat household to look like? Can you have a cat when you are living in an apartment of a student's home, a student room? Can you have a cat there if you want to? Nowadays you can. But should you be able to have a cat, or should there be restrictions, yes or no?
Maybe it depends on the cat. If the cat wants to stay indoors or is more likely to stay
Yeah, but
indoors.
do you know that when you buy a little kitten?
No, but maybe there's a way to test the DNA of the cat.
Yeah, that's
And
maybe
see
that's
if it's
possible. That's possible. I don't know if it's possible. I once saw a theme on the BBC with a GPS tracker and on the cats, and they just tracked the records of different cats, like city cats, rural cats, and cats from a farm. And they just checked, okay, is a cat that was born on a farm, so the genes of really a hunter. When you place him indoors, is it still a hunter? And sometimes the answer was no. They were just sleeping on the couch 80% of the day. And hunting, they found a toy and playing with a toy enough. But you also saw like city cats that were having a complete life outside of their homes, fighting with other cats. So there's a lot of different cats, but most clearly is that their instincts are not gone by buying a cat that has lived, or his mother has lived indoors always. That's not solving the problem, but it's because the cat will still have his genes and still wants to hunt. It wants to play.
Yeah, each cat has their own personality
Yeah.
and their own hobbies, let's say.
Yeah.
So the kind of rule that there is that they should be inside is not possible because they are all different. Or
Yes,
different
they
kind of cats.
Yes, because they're different cats. So should the solution be in genes? Yeah, that's difficult things because in my practice, we also have a project. It's called the Kitten Basket. They will catch kittens that are living on the street. They will sterilize them. They will treat them against parasites and give them their vaccines. And they will place them in homes to grow up between people. So they make the population smaller of the stray cats. Because stray cats are also giving problems in your environment. And then I'm looking to Holland. I think we have a problem with stray cats, but we have a lot of people working about it. And if you are not looking at Holland, and maybe you went on a holiday to Spain or to Greece, what do you see there? Do you see a lot of cats living indoor there?
No, they are only outside.
Yes,
I think
they are
there
outside.
so many stray cats there.
Yes.
And also they're not always looking that good as they do here.
Yes, because they're not treated for parasites and they're fighting a lot. They are not vaccinated. So I think when we have legislation here, it's about European law. And if you do something here, all kinds of places, when it's more sunny during the year, cats are living more outdoors. So I think in our country, it's possible to do something. But if you go on farther in Europe, you will find countries, and it's not even possible, because people won't keep their cats indoor. They will keep them outdoors because they are there just to take the mice away or the rats away. And if they catch a bird in between,
They don't mind.
Yeah. What makes it morally okay for a bird or for a rat to die and for a bird not to die? And the same if you're eating meat, then what makes it okay for you to eat a cow and not eat a cat or a dog?
I think the only reason why there is a difference is because we see cats and dogs. I think that they're the most popular, really as house pets. Just what you say with the meat. Why is there a difference? Why shouldn't we just don't capture them all?
Maybe cats and dogs don't feel the pain, or that they feel the pain, and cows don't feel the pain when they get killed and eaten. They still feel the same pain, and maybe dogs have more emotional connection rather than cows to their owners. But of course, that's different makeup of their genes. Well, but each member state of the European Union, they have to report about each number of the bird species and many different things to protect the birds for.
Yeah.
So each member state is going to have their own rules to kind of.
They have
go
to
along
show,
with this
and
rule.
each country has to show what they did about it. Yes, and I think the solution is not in keeping all the cats indoors. I think the solution is in the environment in Holland, and to make your rural area and your city area a better place for birds. And then there still will be cats, but then you will generate more possibilities for the birds to flourish. Ecological solutions, I think.
How would people conform to that kind of solution? Do you think it's doable to even put it in place? Or?
Yes, because in our neighborhoods they put up, you can tell by looking at all the trees, like birds' houses in all of the trees. So your biodiversity should be stimulated by growing stuff underneath the trees and not mowing the lawn. So I think you can get a higher number of keeping your birds alive by doing other measurements. And the cats is part of a solution. You won't get the people so far that they will keep all their cats indoors. If you live in a city, maybe, because your neighbors will be angry and do his poop in his garden. But if you live rural, like me, like farm owners, they won't keep their cats indoors. And they will take the birds like, okay, no, that's a coincidence, they take the birds, but I want them just for their hunting skills.
Mm-hmm. But if all the birds die out, then the ecosystem will have to completely change.
Yeah, but they don't, because I've got a lot of birds in my garden and I've got a really, really good hunter, and it's my own cat. So I can tell by here in my neighborhood with my cat that it's possible to live together, the birds and the cat. But you have to be wise about it. You have
to kind of do something in return.
Yeah. So my cat has got a collar on with a bell. And when I place my bird's nest, then I will look, can my cat jump on it or not when I place them? Yes, so, and I will make my garden so the birds could hide away in the trees. So I think it's possible to have both of them at the same time. Because if you take city people, I think they say, okay, you have to do something about it. You have to keep your cat indoors. I'm a veterinarian in a city. I've got a lot of patients with cats living in a city. And that gives, that's giving problems for the cats, but also for the owners. And if the cats were not allowed to go outside, what could we do? And you can, maybe there is something like a research about how many birds are living in a city area, how many die by
Yeah, but maybe
cats.
it's good if all the cats in the city are inside, because also there's a whole another environment, because it's all close by. There are a lot of houses and also more cars, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe there are also a lot of more cats dying there because of all the rushing, and so maybe there should be not rules, but maybe different kinds of campaigns or something that they can kind of manage to maybe keep them inside, and maybe the people that live in a neighborhood or something, that they can be outside. Maybe there should be a difference between the city people and the city life and the people
There already is a difference
Yeah.
between my cat living here and the cat of my clients living in the city. My cat could also get run over by a car. He won't drop dead because he went a jump out of his flat. We don't have flats in here. But for the birds, there are typically birds that are living in the city, and there are typically birds for living in rural area. And which of them
is more important, maybe.
is more important? Is it a problem there that there are a lot of cats? And does it make the population of the birds go down? Or is there something else in there? You can teach the owners to play more indoors, because the hunting instinct will stay there. It wasn't gone when, I don't know for how long we keep cats, but still it is still there. And it won't disappear. So I think it's about playing more with them indoors, doing more things, making owners more alert that when they keep a pet, it's not only just keeping them and then going to their work and coming back, but
just not the cats to kind of be around you, but really do something with it, and maybe
do something with it. Yes, make them more aware what a cat's like and what he needs to feel happy. And if he can do it outside, how you can make a nice living for him inside. So if you want to make the choice, or you say it's too dangerous for my cat to go out, what can you do to make the life better for the cat indoors? So that's a big thing, because the stress of cats living indoors and not getting their energy out, and having behavioral problems, and having problems with health issues. And I think it's very important, not only for the birds, but also for the cats, to do something about it. So if you look at it from another perspective, you could get two things at the same time. You can get people more aware when their cats are going outside. What can I do to let them catch less birds? And what can I do if I want to get to have my cat stay indoors? How can I make his environment better for him?
Maybe the cat owners should, before they even get a cat, they maybe should get a person from the outside to look at their house and what kind of modifications they need to make before they get the cat.
Yeah, because there are a lot of things when you have a dog owner. You can go to like a puppy course to learn something about it. I don't think there's something for cat owners like that.
No, maybe it's also more easy to get a cat than maybe a dog.
Yeah, and I also think there's a role for the government, because if they say, okay, a lot of dog owners say, yes, we have to pay taxes. We live in Tilburg, and we have to pay taxes for a dog and for the second dog. But if you have a cat, it will go outside, and you don't know where it's going, and you don't have to pay anything at all. Why don't you say, okay, if you have a cat, you have to pay something, like a tax. Yeah. And from that tax, we like to treat the cats. So we want to get all the cats sterilized and castrated. So that will help the problem. We will treat them for parasites, so we give the owners like discount to get them sterilized, to get treatment against parasites. I think then, and you can also spend some of the money for the birds. Say, okay, we make a better environment for the birds. So I think there is a solution by maybe letting them pay taxes for the cat. And then you first have to register all cats. So all dogs should be chipped these days. The law tells you all dogs should be chipped. If you say, okay, we do the same thing with cats, then you know, okay, this is how many cats are there, how many cats owners are there. And then you can say, when you are a government, they have to pay taxes. And we can do something with the money for the cats, like for getting them sterilized and neutered, and prevent them for having sickness, vaccinated and treated against parasites. And you can also do something for the environment.
And maybe more people will think twice if they want a cat.
Yeah, because it's more expensive.
Maybe it's too easy right now to get a cat.
Yeah, if they pay the taxes, they will get a health program. So it's helping both ways. It's also helping the owner to get his cat more healthy.
Kind of like health insurance, but for a cat.
Yes, something like it. I was always wondering, what is the government doing with the taxes, or like the city doing with the taxes from which they collect from the dogs? Are you spending it on the dogs, or on taking away the dog poop, or not? I don't think so.
No, but you get a fine, right? If you you find a dog poop on the street or something.
Yes, and I think if you take the taxes and just say to the people, okay, we take something from you, but we give something back. You can get your vaccinations free with your vet. You can get your treatment against parasites free from your vet when you have paid your taxes. And then we know how many dogs you have, and we say, okay, there's a limit to it. I think you can do a lot more with legislation, and also for the environment. And you can also pay people to treat something, or to do to treat dog shit, to take it out of the environment, or to examine something. I think it's very wise to when you're able to pay taxes, then you take it for the best of the population, to give something back. I think something is in there too.
I think there are many ways to find a solution for this.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving us your opinion, and this was a very nice discussion about it. And I think our viewers or listeners can also have some insights from this. So thank you for joining us today.
And maybe see you next time.
Yes, maybe.